What up, America? It's Andrew Jackson, that guy you roll up to hit some powder. I founded the Democrat Party and chose the jackass as our mascot. Now, as you can probably tell, times have changed a bit from the party back in my day, and present-day Democrats will come to hate me, but that's your problem. Jackson started the Democrat Party to appeal to the common man. Democrats today sometimes give him credit for that, but only after calling him an evil white bigot. Needless to say, the party started off pretty sketchy by today's standards. We were by far the pro-slavery party all the way through the Civil War.
After the war, we cleaned up our act and supported the North's Reconstruction efforts. Totally kidding, we doubled down on racism and became the party of the Klan. But seriously, we didn't have much of a platform after the war, except Jim Crow, but that was until our boy came in hot on his rollerblades.
Then came the Depression. People lost trust in markets, so I wheeled in to drastically expand communism across the country, and Democrats been hooked ever since.
Up until this point, blacks had always voted Republican as they were the party that freed the slaves. But after FDR's New Deal, blacks swung 75% Democrat. This was a complete realignment, not because of civil rights, but because of economics. All while the Democrats were still the party of the Klan, and their stronghold was the South.
We pushed segregation throughout the South and filibustered the 1964 Civil Rights Act for 75 days. It wasn't until Republicans stepped up and found even more votes to pass the bill. So ask yourself, how are Democrats seen as the party of the civil rights? Well, it's because
Democrats are very persuasive. But again, it ultimately boils down to economic incentives. Once Democrats realize the power of government spending and handouts, you can appeal to any voter group and lock them in.
1, 2, 3.
Gays for Palestine.
Good luck with that.
So anyway, to sum it all up, my party has changed a shit ton, but it's not because of the mythical party switch. Democrats controlled the South all the way through the 1990s. But they did adopt new policies like massive social spending and welfare programs that allowed them to appeal to more diverse voting groups.
Boy, isn't that true? Massive spending, and it completely changed everything in the world. Hey, folks, welcome to the program. I don't know about you, but in my family voted Democrat as well. And when I look back at my family, because I've asked these questions, they did it because my grandparents, with a whole basketball team, football team of kids, basically the Depression almost obliterated the family. My father, the last boy to come along, was right as the Depression ended, or it was in, and he had about a year, I guess I should say, to go. But it almost destroyed the family. And when you think about FDR, that's right. He came in and saved people. So my family literally always voted Democrat because of FDR. That's a true statement. Was your family the same way, that they voted out of some long ago obligation? Especially if you grew up in the South, like a lot of us did. Obligation, a lot of that obligation going back, right, to FDR, as he said, when Mr. Rollerblades came in. Hey, by the way, guys, send me your photos. When you get our books, send me your photos. I love to see them, right? And I'll share them on the program. By the way, with the Food Forest Bible, just make sure that you see my name on the book, because the system has copied it, because I did an ebook. It's kind of disgusting, but the system copied it. Make sure you get the one that has my actual image on it.
Do you have the #1 runaway bestseller as part of your homesteading library? Introducing the Food Forest Bible, How to Create a Food Forest, Sustainable, Self-Managing, Natural Food Production for Self-Sufficiency and Food Security. We all know the system is broken, but food, sovereignty, and survival are up to you. Will you comply or defy their plan for us all? You will own nothing, eat bugs, and be happy, or so the system says. Is this why America's largest food processing plants and food supply plants keep burning down? Do you really think this is a coincidence? Of course not. The system is telling us right to our faces what they have planned for us. You have a choice. Comply or simply defy their plan for us all. Defy the system's plan and execute your own plan. Abundant, safe, secure, natural food supply. Introducing the Food Forest Bible, this bestseller by Jovan Hutton Pulitzer is the single most complete, executable, easy-to-follow plan for sustainable, self-managing food production for self-sufficiency and food security. For the first time ever, a coffee table, heirloom quality, full-color book which unlocks the ancient secrets of creating a food forest. Imagine planting in a way which requires no digging, no pesticides, and creates massive ancient food abundance. No fooling. Food forests are the ancient secret to planning and planting once, and have your own Garden of Eden, which will feed your family for decade after decades. Buck the system. Buck the New World Order and order your very own copy of Jovan Hutton Pulitzer's Food Forest Bible. Learn how to create a sustainable, self-managing, natural food production for self-sufficiency and food security for your family. Side yard, small yard, backyard, backlot, or even lots of acres. The Food Forest Bible works for everyone. Order on Amazon, hardcover, or softcover. Buck the system. Don't comply. Expertly defy the system. Get your copy of the runaway bestseller, The Food Forest Bible, How to Create a Food Forest, Sustainable, Self-Managing Natural Food Production for Self-Sufficiency and Food Security. Now.
Okay, folks, the crap we're going to talk about, and of course I talk about taking care of yourself because the system's in a big managed takeover of us. We're going to talk about, have we lost our kids to the system? And we're going to have a very serious discussion about this. So I'm going to show you some things. You're going to participate, I hope, by answering in chat. By the way, I want to show you something. Here's the next book you'll see as we continue this series about, and it's all based on sovereignty, food sovereignty, you setting yourself free from that system. That's the goal. You got to set yourself free from the system. And the way I look at it, if you were to sit down and just look at the system economically, you know, your power bills, your water bills, your mortgage, your credit card debt, and everything else, and if you were to really soberly look at it, boy, you have a lot of masters, don't you? A lot of people you have obligations to that we did to ourselves because the system made it easy. And most people get extended. And so what I'm trying to do in my life is cut off everything. Yeah. Get as far out of the system as possible, every single possible way. In fact, I think the only thing that really is left, if you look at it, that can be justified would be internet access, but through satellite, not through your land internet access. So for me, it's about getting away. Let me show you. I'm going to give you a real quick sneak peek. Let me show you the next book in our engagement to teach you how to set yourself free.
Here's what is inside the pharmacy. Grow Soil Bible. Beautiful gardens, bountiful harvests, and homesteading abundant black gold. For too long, modern agriculture has poisoned the very ground beneath our feet. Synthetic NPK fertilizers delivered bigger yields at a devastating cost. They wiped out the teeming microbial life that once made soil rich, alive, and endlessly productive, trapping us in a cycle of chemical dependence and dying farmland. Now is the time to fight back. The Grow Soil Bible takes you on a powerful journey back to the ancient wisdom that created the world's most fertile soils. Discover the secrets of Amazonian terra preta, also called black gold, born from biochar, fish bones, compost, and microbial magic. Master the art of Chinese green tea composting and Japanese bokashi to transform kitchen scraps and yard waste into living, breathing super soil. Whether you're a backyard gardener, passionate homesteader, or family determined to build real food security, this book gives you everything you need. Step-by-step instructions, precise natural ingredients lists, and proven techniques to grow your own ultra-fertile dirt instead of buying dead bags from the store. Become a true dirt farmer. Revive the microorganisms that power life.
break free from synthetic slavery and slow chemical suicide, and create abundant, nutrient-dense harvests that feed your family for generations. Your garden, your orchard, your future. It all starts with the soil. Reclaim the earth. Grow your own black gold.
And so I'm really excited about it because, you want to grow your own food, but people don't realize the force multiplier is your soil. And the system has made Earth an addict, chemically dependent. Soil is the key. But here's an interesting thing. I know somebody has a very little plot of land, right? And it's just land. It's not even their house because they live in town. And they make $1 million a year. And their product, dirt. It's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. And so in this book, I made sure I included a section for you, literally, of if you just want to raise dirt. It's amazing. And you're talking on Craigslist. I watch it all the time. This stuff sells for $30 a bag. Some people sell a 20-pound bag. Some people sell a 30-pound bag. But we're talking $30 a bag, and all you're growing is dirt. Soil. Now, there's a difference between dirt and soil. Dirt is the brown dead stuff, the light dead stuff. Soil is the teeming stuff that booms, right? So I've included a section for you on that. Anyway, probably just a matter of a week or so, you'll be able to see that out there. Anyway, we're going to talk about, have we lost American kids to the systems? Yes. Oh, by the way, it's not my book on topless soil. I haven't done with that one yet. I find myself laying face down in it. Anyway, we're going to talk about, have we lost our kids? And we're going to look at some hard stuff. And I'm going to tell you it's going to be hard stuff. So get ready. Share this program right now. We'll get started right after this.
Rennie Good was a gifted soul. A writer and a poet and a mother, wow. She tried to hit an agent with her car, oh no! Pop, motherfucker, now she's gone! Yeah! Being a fucking liberal is a mental disease. Blue-haired and fuckables with the septum ring. You are not a hero, you're a fucking disease! You fuck around and find out it's what it is! Homo started talking shit to protect a chomo. He was getting nicked when he pulled a gun. Bam, motherfucker, now you're gone. Yeah. Being a fucking liberal is a mental disease. Blue-haired and fuckables with a septum ring. You are not a hero, you're a fucking disease. Fuck around and find out what that is.
Warning, the following program has been rated Gilligaff and is intended for open-minded audiences. If the truth offends you, or if you are allergic to focused intensity, intellectual athleticism, or the occasional F-bomb or even irreverent humor, please switch off now. If your delicate sensibilities need to be worried about or addressed, might we recommend the Underwater Basket Weaving channel to you? Otherwise, sit back, enjoy the wisdom, insight, and wicked sense of humor.
Cut the crap. How many times a day do you want to say that to politicians, the elite, the loony liberals, the fake news media, and the gender-confused, emotional socialist snowflake crowd? Cut the crap is your secret weapon for fighting for our freedoms and our great republic. It all begins with a massive mental enema, freeing you from the toxic news and politically correct views, which constipate your consciousness with stinking thinking. Your host, Jovan Hutton Pulitzer. He's known for calling out politicians and telling them to cut the crap. You've seen him on virtually every television network and listened to him on Coast to Coast Radio. And now he's here to help you learn to fight for America. Culture, race, and American politics. They all have one thing in common. They all need to cut the crap. Now, here's your host, Jovan Hutton Pulitzer.
Okay, the topic is, have we lost American kids to the system? Either kids are being born deficient, which I do believe is happening, or the parents don't know how to parent, or the system is what creates this. That's the questions I'm going to be asking you in this program as I show you certain things. What are we witnessing here? But I do believe, in a very sad way, that we're way down the road on losing our precious children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren to the system. First, I want to show you supposedly the adults in the room and some of the things that are being discussed among adults.
I want to draw attention to 3 concerns about the widening scope of euthanasia in Canada. These are not concerns from the fringes, but statements from a member of a provincial medical college, recommendations before Parliament, and the reality of MAID right now in Canada. And most Canadians are not yet aware of the extent of the horror. The first concern is about a statement regarding infants. A member of the Quebec College of Physicians has formally stated that MAID may be an appropriate treatment for babies from birth to 1 year of age, who come into the world with severe deformities and very serious syndromes, and that parents should have the opportunity to obtain this care for their infant. Canadian law currently permits the withdrawal of life-sustaining treatment for critically ill newborns. This medical practitioner's proposal goes further. He calls for the calculated killing of an infant. These are patients, babies, who cannot speak, cannot consent, and cannot ask for help. If we cannot draw the line here, I'm not sure where medical professionals imagine the line to be. The second concern is a proposal regarding mature minors. A report by the Special Joint Committee on Medical Assistance in Dying, AMAD, has recommended extending MAID to children with parental consent described as optional. A physician, not a child's parent, would determine whether a child is able to consent to his own death. In this discussion, MAID advocates showed their true colors and defended the rationale for euthanizing minors without consulting their parents. Yet 43 expert witnesses called this recommendation deeply flawed. I might call it something stronger. The third concern is euthanasia on demand. Ontario's chief coroner has documented MAID deaths driven not by illness, but by poverty, loneliness, and lack of housing. Approximately half of those who died by MAID in 2024 reported requesting it because they felt like a burden to their families, friends, or caregivers. These are not necessarily people dying of terminal illness. These are Canadians failed by a system that chose to offer them lethal injection rather than the support and hope they needed to live.
Now, I want you to think about this as we consider what's going on today. From the adult standpoint, in Canada, the state will happily kill you. I think it was where they just recently had a case, a young girl who had serious depression decided she wanted to die. They agreed on euthanizing her. She might have been 18 or 19. And then changed her mind, but they wouldn't let her go back because she changed her mind. They wouldn't let it undone, and they went ahead and killed her. Now, you probably heard there that same ruse of if the baby's got something wrong with it or it's too hard to take care of, that they've introduced a bill to allow you to get the care you need to have the baby terminated. Yeah, to have the baby terminated. So again, I want you to consider all of these as we just discuss a few things. And I'm going to show you a few select videos of how we've lost American kids to the system. Because the American system and a lot of systems, unfortunately, kind of give no value to kids anymore. And yeah, that's wow. You're right, Canada. That's some crazy stuff. But it's care. While we're looking at adults, let's look at, I think it's Mandami's press team. And you remember the healthcare professional, CEO, United Healthcare, or whatever it was, that got murdered in the street. Do you remember that? Let's listen to Mandani's press team. Now, these are supposedly the adults in the room, granted young adults. Let's listen to his press team and see how they kind of view that man getting killed and the effect on his children.
I said what I said. I don't give a fuck. His children are better off without him. They need to learn to not be like their dad and enjoy the blood money, kids.
What was that? I didn't get that, what you said.
I'm standing on business. Fuck Brian Thompson. I don't give a flying fuck he died. Millions of Americans. I liked it. Millions of Americans suffer every single day from the lack of negligence when it comes to United Healthcare. We had a literal infant named Isela who, because of how negligent her health insurance was, she died. An infant died. So if you guys are okay with someone like Brian Thompson being around and that being a part of our society, that says more about you as a person, because you look absolutely monstrous defending someone like that. Participates in social murder. That's what we mass social murder. He's responsible for more deaths than Osama bin Laden. And I remember Americans celebrating when Osama bin Laden was killed. It's not like we don't understand heroic violence or like when violence is good. That's like as America gets. I mean, why do we protect the Second Amendment so much? Is it to allow people to shoot up schools, or is it for us to protect our democracy? I think it's to protect our democracy. I'm not saying, we should all take up arms, but when your democracy is eroded and there's no other option, like, what are we meant to do?
Now, these are people that are there to handle the press for a mayor of New York City. I want you to think about that for a minute. Oh, his kids are better off that he's dead. Enjoy the blood money. Hate has been institutionalized. And I guarantee you a lot of those right there when they were kids years ago, 10 years ago probably, when they were in high school, learned that in the system. Learn that from the system. Do you think that's okay? I think it's pretty sick. But you're right. Liberals are so caring. We have a system now that not only worships death, worships separation, but rewards it. Look at Muslims, right? Liberals, kumbaya, kumbaya, everybody in, when in fact Muslims just tell you to your face, we're going to kill you and want to kill you. So I wanted you to see that as we're going to look at some things with the kids. Let me show you one more. And this is probably the topic of where we're going to kids. Have you been noticing this takeover stuff going on? I've been following that maybe in social media. Kids organizing takeovers.
Takeovers seem to be a byproduct of social media. They can happen in an instant and can be dangerous even for law enforcement to stop them once the crowd has gathered.
So is there a way to stop them before they start? As Eyewitness News reporter Philip Palmer explains, the city of Port Hueneme appears to have found a way.
Street takeovers are a problem. In addition to the smoke and the noise, the events have been the scene of murders, arson, human trafficking, and narcotics activities. In spite of ongoing efforts to end the practice, since April of last year, there have been over 1,000 takeover events across L.A. County.
We want to make sure that we can stop these issues because people are dying.
In 2022, bot dots were installed at some intersections in Compton where takeovers were commonplace, but their effectiveness have been called into question by residents.
It's a waste of taxpayers' money. I feel that the bot dots, they don't stop anything.
The L.A. County Sheriff's Department has seen some success with the use of administrative citations, a $2,000 fine for anyone involved, even spectators, and each participating city collects the fines. For Compton alone, the total is $279,000 since April of last year. And new laws expand vehicle impoundment authority. There were 450 tows across the county in the same time frame.
We know that individuals, number one, don't want to lose their car, and they don't want to be hit by their pocketbook. So it's been very effective with administrative citation.
But those actions are taken after the event, and in many cases, the vehicles involved are stolen. So what's left? Residents near this intersection in Port Hueneme have lived with dangerous driving and street takeovers for years.
It's frightening. You know, people would stand on the corner, and all I could think of is, what if a car loses control? It was very, very dangerous.
When education and punishment don't work, sometimes you just have to harden the target. You make the intersection too difficult to take over, and it's working here in Port Hueneme.
We didn't want to make it difficult to use this street. We just wanted to make it hard to do donuts. And I think we found that solution here.
These rubber medians are far beyond the bot dot. They are sturdy, easy to install, and officials say fairly inexpensive. As part of a 6-month test project, they've also had an immediate impact.
It works. It definitely works. They can't do it. It's great.
It helps even outside of the zone where the test project is, because it's made it less desirable to come here and try it.
The city still cites people who look for other areas to do donuts, but it's clear this works, and it will likely be used elsewhere.
It's clear it just stops the spinning because of the way those humps are placed. So I would think it could apply in many situations in other cities as well.
Philip Palmer, ABC 7.
Now, this has somehow become some weird epidemic where kids get together on social media, as you saw it, and they take over streets and they're doing donuts. There are fatalities at this, kids falling out the windows, right? But what about the parents that support this? Well, kids are going to be kids and they're just expressing themselves. Let me show you this before I show you some footage of this stuff. And by the way, sometimes they're just, a parent saying, this is just a kid expressing themselves. Sometimes the parents are just total dumbasses, right? Look like fools. Kind of like this.
Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no-no square. Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no-no square.
Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no-no square. I thought it was a yes square, but that was my own personal opinion about my body. But
Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no-no square. Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no-no square.
now there is some pedophile proof protection right there. Come here, little kid. Stop. Don't touch me there. This is my no-no square. Oh, I gotta go. All I can say is fucking idiots.
Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no-no square. Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no-no square.
Oh, I like that. Stop. Don't touch me there unless I chop it off and put it there. Oh, our adults have become the juvenile ones here. But what when you have a parent that just it's just my kids expressing themselves? What if the parents think it's just my kid expressing themselves, and I love him shaking his no-no square in front of, well,
Lactatia is the devious diva you could ever think of.
that's somebody's 8-year-old son.
Lactatia is the devious diva you could ever think of.
It's overwhelming. Like, you feel overwhelmed with pride that your child is, expressing themselves and showing the world, and it's being so well.
Yes, my child is expressing themselves on a stage with grown men who regularly get arrested for child porn, but he's expressing himself. Just like mom expresses herself. Can you tell?
Lactatia is the devious diva you could ever.
She even so trans she lactates at 8. Lactatia. Milky.
Lactatia is the devious diva you could ever think of.
It's overwhelming. Like, you feel overwhelmed with like pride that your child is, expressing themselves and showing the world, and it's being.
I think these liberal parents were just like led into this stuff by their nose ring. Well,
Lactatia is the devious diva you could ever think of.
It's overwhelming. Like, you feel overwhelmed with like pride that your child is, expressing themselves and showing the world, and it's being so well received, and she's pretty good at what she does.
By the time you turn 12, you are going to be a weapon of mass devastation.
A lot of people ask me if I'm going to be a drag.
in American cities where they're lowering the age of sexual consent to 12, this little girl's gonna be stretched to her limits.
Lactatia is the devious diva you could ever think of.
It's overwhelming. Like, you feel overwhelmed with like pride that your child is, expressing themselves and showing the world, and it's being so well received, and she's pretty good at what she does.
By the time you turn 12, you are going to be a weapon of mass devastation.
A lot of people ask me if I'm going to be a drag.
Is it the kid? Is it the parent? Is it the system? Is it the kid? Is it the parents? Is it the system? Put it in chat. What is it? What are we looking at in this? Is it the kid? Is it the parents? Or is it the system? This is about how far we've fallen, right? I think it should be handled with laughing at him and fire.
King Xerxes offers his respect, ma'am. All he asks is that Sparta kneels a simple bow and your people will be spared.
Don't call me ma'am.
My apologies, miss. Xerxes is generous. He only wants your loyalty. Surely even a delicate thing like yourself can understand that.
I said don't fucking misgender me!
Ma'am, calm down. No need to get emotional.
It is sir!
Now, when I look at these things and I think about that, that's an 8-year-old child. I don't think the 8-year-old child's culpable. I think the 8-year-old child is looking for love, looking for acceptance. Any kid looking to be the center of attention and cool, and the mom created it in this kid. The system created it. So for that little fellow in the pink dress, who will always be a little fellow in a pink dress, no matter what anybody says or what anybody's forced to say, I'm not blaming the kid. But I think as they get into 11, 12, 13, 14, then it is they've accepted the disease, because the kid can make a choice by then. They're not. One of the best examples to show that this sickness is the system and the parents and stuff and accepting this crap is by the system protesting. You ought to have a right to abortion. It's just a clump of cells. It can't think. It can't be anything. And at the same time, there are studies published that children are transgender in the womb. Let me repeat that again. They're not a person until they're the outside and breathing and can think for themselves and don't depend on the mom. So they can be aborted. All right? Children are being born transgender in the womb. And the parents just know it inherently right off the bat. So it's okay for the parent, if he's been misapplied a gender by the doctor, to decide that's not right. Now, how do both of those thoughts live in the same space? How do both of those thoughts live in the same space? Here's kind of what these takeovers look like, by the way, in this confusion that's going on. Kids using the excuse of getting out of class, protesting, and they're going to get in the streets and protest. No, it's an excuse to get out of class, and the coolness is to take over the streets. Although you're right, it looks like they're running from Godzilla! The kids, the parents, the system. What is it? The kids, the parents, the system. Now, in that case, the kids, in my opinion, aren't innocent. They know, and they're using it as an excuse. Created by the system, fostered by the parents and the teachers. Here's another form of these takeovers going on. I'm so rich, I'm throwing money away off the bridge. Yeah, it's a bridge takeover. Kind of stupid wasting all your SNAP money. Duh. Who said that? Liberty Mom, you're 100% correct, dear. This is what happens when kids are raised by a village. That's really Greenwich Village and the village people. Now, here's a question. Anybody watching this program, put it in chat. Anybody watching this program, when you were growing up and at that approximate age, did you ever see this happen anywhere? Of any kind, of any flavor? When you were about the approximate age of these young people, did you ever experience it in your world? Did you ever see it? Did anybody ever talk about it? Did anybody ever promote it? See, this is how you can tell this is a manufactured crisis and response. This is how you can look squarely in the face of sickness of a society and see it. Now, remember, we get 6 more years down the road, 10 more years down the road. This keeps on happening. This is now normalized, and it will be forgot to history, and this will be the way they think people should act. That's why they're teaching little kids in elementary schools to protest, to walk around with hate I signs. This is why I even wanted to look at this. Have we lost our kids to the system? What would even possess kids getting out and doing this? Also, when there were fights when you were a kid, come on, you've seen fights at school. Did anything like this ever happen? Question I have is, I see kids stomping on each other's heads, stomping on each other's neck, throwing furniture like this. I don't even think they realize they could kill someone. Now, their emotions are out of control, but one stupid ass move like that could put them in prison for the rest of their life. I don't think they think about it. Do you? In any world, is this okay? In any world, is this justified? This is stuff like out of a 1970s horror movie. There's a reason in this image I use kids that are zombified. See, I think that's zombified. And I think this gets sold to kids. They even think they can walk into a store and it's okay just to take what you want.
Yo. Y'all got it. Y'all got that. Yo.
Want something to drink?
What?
Somebody go. Yo, somebody go. Hey, answer for it. You're not gonna go to heaven, kid. That's stealing. Oh, look here, the devil's in you. Does your mom take you to church? You don't care. You pay for it 5 years later.
What the fuck is this little nigga?
Precious lady there trying to talk some sense to these kids. Tell them, didn't your mom ever take you to church? The answer is no. She's right. They're going to pay for it later, maybe in 5 years. When did this become okay? Now, here's the deal. It became okay when the government, when the system stopped prosecuting for these crimes. It didn't save the system money. Well, there's too many of them to prosecute. We needed to save money. No, it encourages it and you get more. That's part of the sickness. By the way, when fights happened in your school, when you were around kids and stuff, were there ever pile-ons and taking cheap shots?
Hey, record that shit.
Is that not the epitome of just being a puss? Run in, take a cheap shot. Ooh, damn! Damn! Now, maybe it's me. I don't know about you. And I see what you're saying. You're saying in chat, fuck that shit. Most of you know a few years ago that I got jumped on by multiple people. Right? Tried to avoid it. Let them take punches the whole bit. Just held my cool as long as I can until it was just one too many times. And then I took them all out. But you know the person that really had to answer all the questions on it? Me. Not the fact they jumped on me. Not the fact that they started pummeling through my window first. Then I didn't even exchange a word. I told them, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. Jump on me like there's some MMA wrestler. Down to the ground we go. I flip out from under it, put them there. Get back up. Let them do it three more times. One of the times I got other people kicking me in the temple, one beating me in the back with a pipe. Now, at that point, right, I had more than enough legal right to just drop them in their tracks. But in all that mess, because I'm very cool-headed, all I could think about is I got to be very careful about this because of who I am. And if I actually kill them, the system's going to try to make an example out of me. Then, after I do not kill them, but just made sure it stopped and stopped very quick, I got people wanting to sue me saying I permanently disabled them. I think a lot of this psychological warfare right, is to make people not defend themselves. That's why I'm asking this question. Have we lost our kids? Because kids think this is okay. You know, I'm my early 60s. The ringleader of this group that attacked me was 32 years old. Then after this gang jumping, trying to sue me, that I permanently disabled them. Can't tell you how many punches I took, how many times I went to the ground. I mean, it's smart. For me, my head slows down, right? So I can see the move, I'm up and boom. But as soon as I keep on telling, warning it, you're going to need to stop. But what my mind's doing is I'm thinking about the cost to me and my family and the system if I actually terminate these people, which I would have full right to do. The question I ask here is, isn't that what the system's trying to create? Because, see, it further amplifies violence because then there's no consequence. I had to think about that before. My body in those types of situation, gunfire, bombs, you name it, combat, I'm on autopilot, right? It's like in the Sherlock Holmes movie, watching every move and stuff. And I thought about this phenomenon. Prior to doing work in the full forensic audit, I would have never thought that way. That thought never would cross my mind. I'd assess the situation. I'd make sure I was in the full legal right, knowing exactly what's going on, down to the point of saying, you got one step and I'm going to drop you. Literally having my weapon drawn. Knowing every cause and effect. But erase that and start doing full forensic audit stuff, and you think about it, it's a whole new thinking process that I have to go through. And then I rarely find myself in these situations, but have now. I'm kind of a moving target where you have to think I am 100% legally within my right. And this persons, in my case, not stopping. But you got to think of the cause and effect of what the system will do. What the system will do. And so that's kind of why I'm asking these questions. Where is this? Right? Where is this? Is it kids? Is it parents? Is it the system? But I got to tell you, the only reason I even shared that one story to you is just this work, having to fight this fight has entirely changed my own thinking pattern. And that's how I realize how easy it can be for the system, and the system does manipulate the shit out of us. Whether you're on the good side, whether you're on the bad side. It is all a mass manipulation. For every time they let these criminals get away, they're having good people think, I'm not going to jump in and stop that. I'll get in trouble. For every time they prosecute a police officer for doing their job, and they bring him up on murder charges and show this kid had a gun and was about to fire it, the cop defend himself, but the cop gets charged for murder. What they're doing is changing the thinking of the police, making the police vulnerable to hesitate and to not enforce. You understand the racket? That's why I used the zombie. Tina said, let's get back to My Three Sons and the Hazel Show. Amen. Would you write? I'd love to go back in time. Right? But where did this pile-on mentality come from? First off, I do want to share one thing. And this is just my own personal thing. If you're not there to create trouble, you know what you're not doing? You're not wearing a hoodie and a mask. If you're there to create trouble and you want to make it harder to identify you because you do know you want to create trouble, then you're there in a mask. Can we agree? It's also how the system manipulates us. A whistleblower, and they do this in the election stuff, a whistleblower is a individual who is identified, who needs whistleblower status to be protected against the system, but they are totally willing to come forward and blow the whistle. That is the definition of a whistleblower. Look how the systems weaponize that, even in this election stuff. Whistleblower came forward, but it's a protected identity. The reason they do that is because that's not a whistleblower. Just like these thugs wearing masks, protected identity. Even in conservative circles, when you see this stuff, people coming forward as a whistleblower, you're hearing a keyword, whistleblower. You can't step back and look at it, go, wait a minute, this person's anonymous. These days, when I see that, I completely discount it because I know it's a psychological operation. Because what whistleblower status was defined as is the person who is identified, who is blowing the whistle, and you have to protect them against retaliation. Therefore, they identified. You see how this con just works all over the place? These kids are wearing masks and doing this stuff because they know they're there. They know they're there. Right? And they know they're there to cause crap.
Fuck that, bro. Yo, nigga. Nigga just pulled out a fucking gun. Niggas just pulled out a fucking gun, nigga. Over kids on bikes. I'm like, nah, that nigga did stalk him though, bro. That nigga starts.
Was it over kids on bikes? Answer the question. The nigga he's speaking about is the white guy they attacked. Then they come into a store attacking him. They were all on a sidewalk. He was just asking them, clear up so people can get in. They attacked him. Then they ganged on him in a store, pushed him in the store. That's when he drew his weapon. So the first lie begins with, nigga, he wasn't. The second thing is, he just pulled the gun because it was kids on a bike. What would you do? What would you do? Just little innocent kids on our bicycles. What would you do in that scenario? And again, this has become mainstream. It's always happened. It happened in a movie theater one time when I, it'd be 26 years ago now. Maybe, 26 years ago. Maybe 25 years ago. And it's kind of funny. I think the movie was Tomb Raider, believe it or not. Sitting in a theater, all these kids come in, taking over, yelling and screaming, throwing stuff or whatever. No fear. No fear. Like begging people to be upset with them. So when one of the young thugs got up to go, I guess, get a soda or something, I immediately took a seat. And I just sat there. Of course, it kind of shocked him. And I took a seat. And I just waited. A few times I said, come on, man. Everybody's just watching the movie. Let's hang out. Let's have fun. Just watch the movie. Look. Angela Jolie. Check it out. And then kind of all hell broke loose. What would you do in that scenario? If you were in that scenario and somebody hit you, somebody started throwing stuff at you, somebody attacked you, what would you do in today's environment? What would you do? Do you have any idea what you would do? I mean, honestly, what would you do? Not what you would want to do. What would you do? Would you stop it now? It wasn't that I was fearless. It was that I had my family with me. They were throwing drinks. They were throwing popcorn and stuff. And so I just went and sat down. I think most people today would leave. I didn't leave. Most people would panic. But for me, I guess I saw it as a kind of a terror tactic, a fear tactic, or whatever. And so when they really started throwing stuff on me and finally hit me, the instigator who was sitting right next to me, my elbow met his teeth. It was a pretty loud crunch when his teeth crumbled out of his mouth. And all of them went into instant shock. And this kid just, and there's his teeth and whatever. Of course, they all run out screaming, "I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you, I'll kill you." Police came, yes. And I waited. Not only did I wait for them, I waited for the threats. I even waited and sat outside because I was totally in the right. Taking off their shirts. I just waited. I just sat there and said, okay, well, whenever you're ready, I'm here. But I think the days of defending yourself are over. Yeah, and in that incident, there are plenty of witnesses. Plenty of witnesses. Plenty. But I think times have changed. I think times have changed because you can't defend yourself in that scenario. It's just like you heard that kid on the bike. There was just kids riding the bike. I'll accelerate to 2016. I'm in an airport. Looks like President Trump's going to be elected. Man standing there telling me, somebody's got to kill that motherfucker, kill that Trump. And I turned to the guy and I said, you probably shouldn't do that. You know that's a federal offense. He got pissed at me. Kept on doing it. So I happened to have a State Department ID, pulled it out of my wallet, went to the front, showed my ID and said, you got to understand there's a guy over here saying he's going to kill President Trump. Somebody should assassinate what will become President Trump. And of course, security came out and watched this guy, but they were terrified to do anything. Now, the guy realized the gravity of the situation and there never was a peep out of him again. But the difference between even 16 to now is somebody doing it then was probably just ill-informed and didn't understand there was a crime. But then airport security and TSA being afraid to do something. Now you combine that being afraid to do something with it just being out on social media, and it's just there, and even TV reporters and stuff saying, hey, fucking Comey, even, Look what I found on the beach today, 8647 or whatever. That's why I'm asking the question. The price we may have paid for all of this is our kids. And somebody says, yeah, we got 3 Trump attempted assassinations. No, there are 4. You just don't hear about the one early on, which happened at Trump Tower in New York City. I actually happened to be there. And it was 2 at once, one in the hallway who kind of disappeared, who was supposedly killed in combat years and years before the whole system hit it, and the other one, a kid threatening to do it, and they focused on the kid. But think about the world we live in. And I'm just asking this question, even this with the kids. Is it the kids? I told you this before. The president gets, on average, 6 to 8 death threats against him every single day. Every single day. But now even kids or parents or teachers think it's okay to say this out on social media. But then conservatives are the bad guy. But then when you defend yourself, we're the bad guy. See, that's the plan. That is the plan. They want you, when those guys are pulling that 8-year-old out of the park to rape her, not to do anything because you'll be afraid to report them. Why don't they want it reported? Because they want those illegals disrupting the city, and the city doesn't want to have to do with somebody with a phone showing the truth. They don't want to deal with it. So it's turned a blind eye. But still, when it comes to our kids, I think, and this is just me, 8 and below, you don't know, meaning you don't know better. You get up into those where you get a little bit of thinking in your system, you're choosing it, or you like the attention, or you think you're hip or cool. Just like parents wearing badge of honors trans kids. Who was the celebrity whose kid came out as trans? And boy, we're talking butt ugly trans, but somebody yesterday came out, son being trans. Where does the blame for all of this lay? It all happened on our watch. It all happened on our watch. Every bit of it happened on our watch. But what happened? Now, I can tell you it's massive psychological warfare led by media and or influencers and other stuff, and it just becomes commonplace. You got podcasters right now telling people get in the streets and you gotta kill people. Unfortunately, it came from the right and it's coming from the left. We've let our minds weaken, and parents have turned away. Sad state of the affair, if you're older and you got grandkids and you try to correct your grandkids, your fucking children are going to cut you off. Do you understand this cycle? This cycle is devastating in a very serious way, and literally kids think they're invincible. Now, there's a certain group of kids who won't accept this stuff, but here's an interesting young thug who thought he'd take on a teacher. But are there any visual cues of how this kid would act in this scenario?
Hey, record that shit. Really badass. I get this shit.
You can see the kid challenging the teacher. The other kids are recording him, laughing at him because he's some sort of goob. But so here's the kid.
Hey, record that shit. Really badass. I get this shit.
It kind of looks pretty normal, don't you agree? Would you agree that the kid looks fairly normal?
Hey, record that shit. Really badass. I get this shit.
Teacher's telling him to go. He swipes at the teacher, takes a hit. Okay. Teacher's going to.
You know what? Teachers should be able to defend
now
themselves.
Now we get a real look at what this
100%. If they get attacked, the kids are out of hands these days. You know this teacher wants to keep his job, and he is doing a great job.
That teacher does
Once again, oh no.
Here comes the cop. Bam!
Deserved.
Was that deserved? Teacher literally telling a kid to leave, you're disruptive. Kid won't, saying, come on, leave, leave, leave. Kid thinks he can pop the teacher, cuss at him, call him all kinds of stuff, and that's okay. Teacher never swung back, grabbed him, carried him out, but then in fact, till the security got there and took care of it. The kid deserve it? But that kid knows that that teacher has to walk a very fine line and they'll lose their job. And you may have a teacher there. Maybe he's a teacher, maybe he's a coach, been there 20 years, and they're going to snatch his retirement. See, these kids know these things. And because there's no consequence, see what happens? Now, an interesting thing is when you look at no consequence society, everybody's participating trophies. Nobody's better than anybody else. Guys can go on the girls' team if it makes them feel better. Do you get this whole thing? Do you get how this has touched every aspect of society? And I think the most victimized are our kids. But see, I also think this is part of the plan. Number one, everybody's equal, come by microaggressions, boom, 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 boom. And when you really get that ready and you get people to stand down, not to talk out, what do? Well, you flood the country with illegals. This is the amount of illegals from Obama to right at 24 that hit the UK. Every little black dot is 100 people. It's an infestation of life. These are illegals, only illegals. You are watching the years from Obama to just fairly recently. Every black dot's 100 people. I want you to look at it. Now, the reason I want you to look at that and understand that is because this is the same amount of people illegal that the Biden administration alone allowed into the United States in one term. You see where the UK is now. Muslims snatch a little girl, feed her alcohol, 20-man gang rape her for a week. Parents don't know where she is. Girl finally gets released. Parents speak out because cops won't do anything. The parents go to jail for 1 year for speaking out. The little girl gets fined for drinking. The 20 Muslim guys that rape her, nothing. Why? Well, it's not a sin in my religion. As you watch this animation, one dot represents 100 people. Now you watch where they're coming from, infesting the UK, a tiny spit of a place. And you see how many years it took to do, and you know that the UK has fallen. But what you also need to understand is this is exactly, almost to the number, the formula used during the Biden administration and let people into our country in just a one term. Now, here's my point with all of this. I can show you all of these breaks. You can see them. You can compare them to how we grew up, and you're just appalled. But at the same time, we end up being the wrong ones if we want to defend ourselves against it. And that's the plan. But see, when you can turn the general populace, the dumbest among us, into it, and then you can let heathens come in, which they do, and criminals, then the criminal element gets to be to the point that it's taken over, the systems are failing. And then what happens to you, even a conservative? Maybe you see it. Even though you know it's wrong, even though you know you should defend yourself, even though you know we shouldn't stand for it, now we're afraid to be prosecuted. What will happen to us? And it makes you stand down. Kids go bad. Parents have gone bad. They bring in illegals that honestly don't know any better, and that's the way they fight it out for life in their country. And frankly, they'll kill somebody for a sandwich, so it's cheap labor to do dirty work. What does America end up doing? Government, help, help, help. Government, help, help. And then what does the government do? Under the guise of help and care, like you saw for euthanizing babies that weren't wanted after they'd been born, all kinds of new rules come in, and more of our freedoms go. Let me just ask you a question. Can you see these patterns? Are you seeing these? Because they're all connected, folks. Not a single one of these is an independent issue. From the transgender stuff to the illegals to the kids out of control, it is all a plan of overwhelming. Can you finally see how all of these connect? Am I hallucinating? Am I making this up? Can you finally see how every single one of them are interconnected to destroy our country? This is why I've always told you, we are at war. I've told you that for almost 6 years. We are at war. Now, luckily, the rule of law hasn't changed. And that's one of the things I worry about. Yes, we could have talked about the primaries, and a lot of bad people got primaried that should have been primaried. Abso-freaking-lutely. And enough people will cover that. What we have to do is we have to understand how far this war has gone, and that's why you can verify this yourself, folks. Look it up. And we still have discussions. It's Venezuela. It's Serbia. It's a whistleblower that we can't identify. It's a witness who saw it, but they can't testify because they're CIA and protected. It's all the same bullshit kind. And it's on all sides. And they give you so many things to get distracted, you don't even see what's really going under. I use this all the time. Barack Obama, who is the Black Messiah for the world, right? An unknown, and right when he's going to become president, he gets the Nobel Peace Prize, I guess for being black, half black, and surviving it for whatever, right? That was a con. That was using an imprimatur of power and nobility, Nobel Peace Prize, to say, no, this is a man of consequence. All bullshit, all circus, all stage acting. But people can't look at the data, look at the stats. Obama got 69 million votes, folks, in his term one, 65 in term two, which was illegitimate. Both of them, by the way. Hillary, another rock star, 65, but we got this Obama mid-finger of 81. Now we had Kamala go against Trump. Trump won. Kamala had 68. She's now over 75 million. Folks, that's 7 million added votes. 7 million added votes since the election. Did the machines keep running? What I'm appalled at is we have no standards. In my book, all election integrity got smothered by a pillow. It was all planned. But we can't call that out. They're too nice. They're too Christian. And it still goes on to this day. It's why I gave you the definition of a whistleblower. A whistleblower is somebody who comes forward, named, exposed, to tell what's up. But from Tina Peters' case to Mike Lindell's stuff, a protected whistleblower, can't see him. Person who only appears on the phone, not in person. Can you not see these trends? But look how many people won't push back because you've been trained not to push back because it's not polite, because they're on your team. You know what? When people intentionally hide this crap so this can be done, they're not on our team. Have you ever thought about that? If somebody actually tells you, no, we saw the machine switch the votes and here it is, are they on your team? Just a question. Do they have the same goal? Did you realize how many people we got in our system that all of a sudden are experts that came out of nowhere? And you don't even see the numbers. One, you can start looking at my career when I'm going back when I was 15 years old. I'm highly documentable. But all of a sudden, here I talk about elections, but here's an ex-CIA guy, and he starts talking on YouTube, and all of a sudden has millions of followers. No, it's because it's a setup. It's a con. But the question is, why do we accept this? Because they haven't taught people to think linearly through it. And it's still the old shaming game. He's just jealous. Or this, and you still, if you ever made a chart of where everything began, who rose to the top, who speaks out on this, who gets depressed. Have you ever just made the chart, putting people's faces in it, and take a look at it? Then you begin to see the connective tissues? No. People don't see that. People don't connect it because we don't look deep enough. Yeah, they call you names. You're mean-spirited. You can talk about this. You shouldn't. They're a Republican. How dare you speak about them? You know what? They don't want us to be on our own and to be awake. And these are just some of the things I think about, right? But the same stuff's going on. Have you ever noticed, even in this election fraud, which is not voter fraud, how much of the old shit is circulating again? Thomas Massey just got primaried, which is great. One of the things I've done for a very long time is I've looked at the profiles that troll me. And you may do this too. You should look at it. So you get people that troll you. You get people that say bad things about you. Do you know an interesting thing? Don't look at them. Look at their Twitter and then look at who follows them. Very interesting, I noticed, been tracking. I'll show you the data now that the primary is over. I'll get it all together. When I look at the big troll accounts that really trolled hard on me, one of the common followers those accounts have is Thomas Massey, his official account. You ever thought about that? See, what you don't understand is for even these orchestrated campaigns to work, they have to tag each other because then that's what starts the replication. And so you should look at who they follow, and you will find they're actually managed accounts. Most people don't even know that connective tissue. We've been doing years of research on it. We'll release the final report soon. But you can actually look at people and see who they follow, not who follows them. You can't really control who follows them. And you know me, I got a one strike and you're out policy. Boom, you're gone. Look at who they follow. And you could look at these. You can do it all across election integrity. And if you put certain key people out there, and then you look at who they follow, and you look down that list, you'll start to see common denomination of bots and stuff. It's because that's how it's here, and then it pings on this phone. Okay, it came through, and that one amplifies it. It pings this phone. That one amplifies it, pings this phone. Remember, I kind of showed you stopping the crypto stuff. You go in, before you block it, you look at who they follow and their followers, and you block the whole list. Eventually expose the whole web, and it neuters them. Well, it all goes on in all this politics stuff. It's everywhere. Yes, I'm pleased that's what's going on in the district reorganization, but I still think we're going to have a hell of a horrible time in the midterms, and it's planned. And you see people desperate. That's I got the machines and it's Venezuela and we can't name the man, and here it is. Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever thought about all these affidavits and stuff we got from whistleblowers who cannot be named? Can you separate that from the fake media that does that to Republicans or stuff to destroy Trump and can't name sources? Don't you see the commonality? This show, in case you didn't know, was all about connective tissues, and I think the connective tissues are there. And the bottom line is we're the cure, folks. We're the cure. Share this program. Love you all.
Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. The historic Maricopa County full forensic audit effort processed 20,895,610 digital and forensic images of varying formats, resulted in 208 million individual evidence-proof files. The system processed over 58 billion forensic measurements, resulting in over 2 trillion individual base computations. No hopium, no hype, just hardcore forensic evidence. Please make sure the Maricopa County Full Forensic Audit Archives survive. Donate now. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. We can't do it without you. We need you. America needs you.
Have you gotten your copy of the best-selling book, Countdown to Chaos? The Silent Federalizing of Elections? On November 3, 2020, something happened in America. Something that caused millions of citizens to stop, stare, and ask one terrifying question. What just happened to our country? That night, America watched as confusion spread across the nation. Vote counting, delays, questions, accusations, anger, silence, censorship, division. And when it was over, one thing was undeniable. America was not the same. Trust in elections was damaged. Trust in the media was shattered. Trust between citizens was pushed to the breaking point. Countdown to Chaos is not a casual read. This book will make you mad. Then it may make you sad. And then it may make you furious. But anger is not the problem. Unfocused anger is. This book takes that confusion, that frustration, and gives it direction. Because before people can act, they must first understand. Inside Countdown to Chaos, you are taken on a chronological journey through the who, what, when, where, why, and how behind the modern election system. How was the system built? Who influenced it? When did it change? Where did the power shift? Why were so many Americans left with unanswered questions? This book asks the questions many people were told not to ask. Was the chaos accidental? Was it predictable? Was it manufactured? Could anyone have known where an election was headed before the public results were called? Could election data be viewed while the process was still unfolding? Could systems be vulnerable? Could outside actors, insiders, institutions, or networks influence outcomes without the average voter ever knowing? One side shouted, the election was rigged. The other side shouted, there is no such thing as election fraud. But slogans are not answers. Mockery is not evidence. Silence is not proof. Americans deserve more than talking points. They deserve facts. They deserve timelines. They deserve documentation. They deserve the truth. Countdown to Chaos, The Silent Federalizing of Elections is a deep research dive into the questions that still haunt millions of Americans. It is carefully researched, it is presented in chronological order, and once you see the system laid out step by step, you may never look at elections the same way again. But be warned, do not open this book if you are comfortable staying asleep. Do not open this book if you cannot handle hard questions. Do not open this book if you still want the blue pill. Because once your eyes are opened, there is no going back. Get the answers, follow the timeline, see the system. Read the bestseller, Countdown to Chaos, The Silent Federalizing of Elections. Available now. Get your copy today.